Well, hello there. So, welcome to a place known as the Badlands. Huh. Does it really seem that bad? But yeah, you'll take notice of that stuff there. I'm starting off in this spot because I wanted to show you something in regards to how you enter the dungeon we are going to be doing today, which is known as Uldaman. So here, you'll notice that, at least with my add-on that I have here, which shows, it's the handy notes that shows dungeon locations as well as raid locations. There's two entrances here for this dungeon. There's this one here, which is kind of a very short, just kind of quick, like you can go in there real quick. And then there's like the old school, I feel like this is interesting. They basically had the old school vanilla way to enter, and then you had like this extra one they put here, probably for when Cataclysm came around, as a quick little, hey, you can get in right here, because you just go into that little tunnel right there, and the entrance is basically right there. We're going to try and go through the old entrance over here. I'm going to show it to you guys over here. I also want to point out a few other things that are near this entrance while we're here. By the way, I was originally going to do this on one of my Alliance characters, because I thought, because we are doing this with some dwarves who are doing some archaeological stuff, trying to find some secrets in this place, that maybe it would be a little bit more relevant in that regard. However, there is an extra boss that's listed in the journal on Horde, so I decided let's go ahead and do this on the Horde character. So there's the tunnel that goes to the entrance of the dungeon. There's a few things I want to show you. That's Black Rock Mountain right there. I know it so well, like the silhouette right there. Like, I can instantly tell it's Black Rock Mountain. You'll also notice this here. This, of course, wasn't here in Vanilla. This was created by Deathwing in Cataclysm. This scar right here. And then right over there is the Bastion of Twilight. You can see that from quite a distance as well. Earlier versions of the game, you wouldn't be able to actually see that with the rendering distance. They kept increasing it, and by the time we got to Legion, they made it where you could see stuff like that way off in the distance, and man, I love it. I've heard that, like, on private servers, you can make it even better. Like, you can be able to, like, see across the entire continent. It's pretty crazy. I just want to show that off real quick. So anyways, let's go down here, and of course, the old school entrances, you can see a bunch of Shadowforged dwarves here that have frost armor. Remember frost armor? I've played with Classic. So of course we gotta make our way and fight our way to the entrance here against all these fire Shadowforged here. Let me take a moment here to turn auto loot off and just something else over here. Okay, there we go. So we're here on my shaman, so that way I can do this. Because we are going to be going through an indoor kind of maze area, and being able to go to Ghost Wolf indoors is pretty nice. It also gave me the opportunity to be able to show you off the progress that I've been making recently with my shaman. So yeah, we drop down here from up there, and all these guys are here, and here it is. The entrance to Uldaman. So, unfortunately, it looks like I've already done this dungeon on this character, because these guys would have had quests, although here, instead of dwarves, it's some blood elves that are here. So it's a little different than, say, if we were here on Alliance. There would be some dwarves here who would give us quests to go through this area, because this is Uldaman. It's an ancient Titan vault buried deep within the earth. It is said that the Titans sealed away a failed experiment there and then moved on to a new project, related to the genesis of the dwarves. Tales of a fabled treasure containing great knowledge have enticed would-be treasure hunters to dig deeper into the secrets of Uldaman, a task made perilous by the presence of stone defenders, savage Troggs, dark iron invaders, and other dangers lurking in the lost city. So yeah, yeah, this is a Titan Vault, in the same regards as, say, Ulduar and Uldum. Now, the thing is, as far as I know, I think to this day, we don't really know what the purpose the Titans had for this place. Like, we can kind of get, know what the purpose of places like Ulduar and Uldum and such were. But what was Uldaman for? Like, what was its purpose here? Now, a couple of characters have actually, I've heard, become more relevant characters. But the thing is, this dungeon, I believe, is also a little relevant in terms of being able to actually add more to the lore of, well, back in vanilla, it was apparently like the first hints and indications of what would be some of the stuff we would learn later on in regards to some of the origins of some of the races with the Titan Forged and that whole aspect. I just wanted to also take this moment to show off that this is the progress I've been making with my shaman here. I got him to level 60, and I finished the Venthyr Covenant campaign, so I have the entire Covenant set. In case you're curious, I've also gotten him to Renown 65, when he's not even, like, my main Venthyr character, but I've been making some decent progress with him, too. So over here is an optional boss that I don't think I've ever actually done before. And this is such a hilarious little Easter egg gag by the that they did here for this optional boss. Now, I want you to take a moment to actually... So these are 3 dwarves. I want you to look at those names. Do they look familiar? Where will we end up this time? If you guys have seen my Heroes of the Storm content, you may recognize these 3 as the Lost Vikings. Eric, Olaf, and Balog. I just love that they are an actual boss here. Now, these are not listed as bosses on the Alliance side. They are only here listed as a boss in the guide on the Horde side. Seeking fame and, more importantly, fortune, the 3 brothers, Eric, Olaf, and Balog, took on a contract from the Explorers League to delve deep into the halls of Uldaman and clear a path for a group of researchers. For these 3 dwarves, however, clearing a path unfortunately entailed getting hopelessly lost in an ancient labyrinth. Proud dwarves to the end, they fight to prevent the secrets of Uldaman and the Explorers League from falling into the hands of the Horde. Excuse me. It's almost 1:30 a.m. So yeah, I'm doing this before I go to bed. But yeah. Balog, of course, favors combat with his sword and bow. Eric the Swift has speed, charging headfirst into battle with the rushing charge, and Olaf favors defense, and you bring him to the food. I just can't help but hear the voices of the Lost Vikings from Heroes of the Storm. Let me yeah. So you can see Eric is swift and he's running away.
It's too far away.
Has the big charge. Olaf attacks me with the shield. And he stuns me. Yep. Hey, I have Olaf's shield. Another shield. That's really cute. Oh man, that's funny. I just had to share that with you guys. I had to. It's the Lost Vikings as a boss in a dungeon. That's way too funny. They didn't even change their names. They gave them the exact same names. That's funny. So, you'll notice there's a bunch of Troggs here. That's kind of the failed experiment that it was alluding to in the guide here. So this is usually the first boss we face when I've done this dungeon before. Revelosh. Some luminaries in Ironforge's prestigious Explorers League have theorized an ancestral link between their people and the Troggs, and pointed towards the Troggs' hoarding of Titan artifacts as a reflection of the dwarves' own reverence for such wondrous devices. If that is true, the Trogg known as Revelation, excuse me. I'm gonna go to bed right after this, I promise. Can be considered the Trogg equivalent of an archaeologist, although any historically minded adventurers who encounter him would be more inclined to call him a thief. And he's got chain lightning and lightning bolt. That's the basic fight. Hope you guys are enjoying the apparently modified version of the Final Fantasy Victory song that they added, or have set up. It should be worth noting that a number of my settings for add-ons such got all out of whack when I switched from one PC to the next. So there's another boss right here, and from what I understand, this character actually became much more relevant than they used to be, and it's mainly in regards to the Chronicles book. I believe it's pronounced Irenaea. I'll say Irenaea. The Titans did not construct the Uldaman complex directly, but utilized various servants to create its megalithic halls. The Pantheon entrusted the Watcher Irenaea with overseeing the construction and maintenance of Uldaman. But as time passed, the once awe-inspiring vault fell to ruin within the map chamber. Irenaea has spent millennia in a form of stasis analyzing the original master plan drawn up by Khazgoroth and attempting to find a way to restore the complex to its original functionality. So, first off, we have this. This is a straight-up Indiana Jones reference right here. You put that in there. Whoa, what is going on? Okay. And then you see this.
None may steal the secrets of the Makers.
So yeah, she does Arcing Smash, a Knockaway, and War Stomp. But yeah, from what I understand, her relevance became stronger when certain things like the Chronicles book came out. Otherwise, before she really wasn't that relevant of a character. But then again, she is one of those watchers who's here watching over this place for the Titans. But apparently she's just been locked up in here for millennia, just chilling, just waiting. But hey, apparently a member of Titan Forge and such are fine with that. What in the world? I'm gonna take a look at this, because I don't see why it would be listed there. That doesn't make any sense. I haven't been here. Okay, yeah. The journal is messed up. For some reason, on the map here, it shows it's marked as defeated, and I don't know why, because it's literally right there. So we'll just go ahead and... This is the Obsidian Sentinel. You'll notice he has a 20% chance of reflecting a spell. The Obsidian Sentinel was responsible for guarding Uldaman's secrets until it was corrupted by an unknown force. Originally crafted from the same stone as the halls of Uldaman itself, this keeper has had the majority of its body replaced with dark glass capable of reflecting spells. Whatever was responsible for the Obsidian Sentinel's transformation must be incredibly potent, for it is not easy to alter the enchanted stone of a Titan construct. So he has Obsidian Reflection, as I pointed out. He also has Splinter Obsidian, where he'll reduce damage done and summons an Obsidian Shard, which raises the Reflective Shield, giving a chance to reflect the next spell cast at them. So. Okay. This is such a maze. And I've heard that back in the days of vanilla, people apparently got lost in nowhere else more than Uldaman. Apparently, Uldaman was like the place that people got lost. And it's easy to see why. This place is quite the labyrinth. That's why the Lost Vikings got lost here. But then again, they're the Lost Vikings. Of course they would get lost here. Okay. So yeah, we've got some of these guys, plus we've got these stone stewards here. Alright, so then we have here the ancient Stonekeeper. One of many golems that staffed and operated the Great Titan Vault, the ancient Stonekeeper was part of a small group that served as an intermediary between the Watchers left in control of the facility and their many servants. With the corruption of the Obsidian Sentinel, the ancient Stonekeeper is the last of its kind, performing its duty by protecting the secrets of the Titans as best it can until its inevitable shutdown. Let me see, he's got the one mechanic listed here. I don't really remember this fight. Summons a sandstorm. Here's the sandstorm that moves towards the player, inflicting damage and reducing their movement speed. Yeah, I can see how slow I'm going now. I think he's supposed to hit you hard, and when you slow down, all of a sudden you're getting hit really hard, so... Okay. The next boss is actually going to have a bit of voice acting. And remember, this is in vanilla, where we are still dealing with all the stuff that's going on with the Dark Iron Dwarves and Thorison and all that stuff. So, that is the next boss. Galgann Firehammer. Reacting to the discovery of Uldaman by Bronzebeard dwarves, the Dark Iron clan mounted an invasion of the vault to stop their ancestral foes from accessing the powerful artifacts within. Galgann Firehammer, a senator from Shadowforge City, was sent to oversee the continued excavation of Uldaman, so that the Emperor may harness the artifact's destructive potential against the Dark Iron's enemies. So because, of course, he's a Dark Iron Dwarf with a name like Firehammer, you would imagine that he has some abilities that are kind of relevant to the likes of Dark Iron Dwarves, like Fire Nova, Flame Lash, Amplify Flames, Flame Strike, and Flame Lash.
By Thorison's beard, slay them!
Hey, Chris Metzen. So yeah, there's the Flame Lash and the Fire Nova. Hey, I got his Firehammer. Your melee attacks have a chance to blast the target for 90 fire damage. So I imagine back in the days of vanilla, this was one of those like you would have loved to have gotten it, because being able to have a weapon that had an extra ability like that on equip is actually pretty nice. Like even today, being able to, like, I'll give you an example of how this was back in vanilla. I'll give you an example of how that's still relevant today. So let's see here. Trying to remember. Ah, right here. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's a sword that you can get in the Shadowlands dungeon of Plaguefall. It's an agility sword, so you can get this, say, as a demon hunter or as a rogue. Your attacks have a chance to apply bubbling pox to nearby enemies, which deals nature damage over 6 seconds. So, That's an example of what I'm talking about. I have this on my Demon Hunter, and it's a pretty nice extra, pretty nice weapon to have, because it's an extra dot of damage that you can be able to do. So, yeah, just pointing it out that that's still a thing that that you can still be able to do today. And of course, the higher the weapon, the more damage that dot is going to do. It scales. So, we have a couple bosses left in this dungeon. This next one makes me grin, because this one has the name of Grimlock. Because, well, how many of you are familiar with the Transformers? Like, seriously. In fact, I believe he has voice acting here, so you'll actually get to hear him talk just like that Grimlock. In Trogg society, the biggest, strongest, and most vicious Trogg often becomes chieftain through displays of power. Grimlock is a comparative genius in that he has maintained control of the Stonewall Troggs through intimidation and what might be considered crude psychological warfare. Having trained a deadly basilisk, Grimlock uses the threat of petrification by his beast to keep any would-be usurpers in line. He actually has Bloodlust. They can increase an ally's attack me by 30% for 30 seconds. He also has Shrink. I don't recall how rough this boss actually is.
Me, Grimlock, king!
So he doesn't say it like that Grimlock with the voice, but he does say, me, Grimlock! And of course there's Chain Lightning. He just cast Bloodlust on himself. I just tried to cast the Shrink on me. I don't think it worked. Okay. So, with basically the entire maze, or, you know, labyrinth. That was the other word I was looking for, labyrinth. Cleared. There's one thing left to do. Infiltrate the vault of Uldaman and uncover its secrets. So, from what I understand, you used to have a certain number of people in order to be able to do this thing here called the Altar of the Keepers, which is something you had to do in order to be able to get access to the next boss, because you'll notice the boss is not on this portion of the map. All the other bosses are, except for one. You have to go through this area to go downstairs. This is the Hall of the Crafters, to go downstairs into the lower level, where the final boss waits. I do remember some of this trash being kind of rough to deal with. But then again, this dungeon is just filled with so much trash. You're constantly dealing with trash. You noticed all those dwarves and trogs and bats that I was having to deal with? Yeah. So, Khazgoroth's Seat. This is Arcades. Deep within Uldaman is a chamber containing one of the greatest treasures of the Titans, created by Norganon himself. However, thus far no explorers have managed to gain access to the relic, for any attempt at doing so activates the Great Watcher, Arcades, an immense guardian who easily dispatches treasure seekers through his powerful attacks and a veritable army of servants crafted from some of the oldest, strongest stone taken from Uldaman's depths. Arcades is a foe as formidable as he is ancient. So the thing about this fight, you'll notice all these statues all around the room, right? So from what I understand, now he doesn't really do much in terms of his own. He does have ground tremor, but the thing he does during the fight is he will awaken these statues, from what I understand, at a pretty fast rate in order to fight against you guys during the fight. So you're not just fighting him, you're basically fighting a number of these other things here. It's almost like a council fight in some regard. So now, of course, just like upstairs, we use this altar to summon him.
Who dares awaken Arcades?
I apologize. I was trying to target him, and I guess I must have auto-attacked him. But that was Metzen. Once again, he says, "Who dares awaken Arcades? Who dares the wrath of the Makers?" I apologize. I didn't intend to do that. Sorry. Stone Slayer. Chance to increase your versatility. Not bad. Not bad. So you defeat him. They all go away. This door opens and woo! Look at all this treasure. So this isn't a quest. I guess you can't get this as Horde. This is only on Alliance. I'm almost tempted to show you this on Alliance, but the point, if these things would have had a exclamation point over their heads, because the main thing was that back then these were supposed to be discs that were covering had information that had been covering all the various different things that happened on Azeroth since they were created, which had these were basically the beginning hints of what we would come to find out more so when it came to the likes of Ulduar in regards to the origins of some of the other races, especially the dwarves. Like, this was like the first hint at some of these things that back then as players we didn't know until like later on in Wrath when we did some of the other stuff where it was like, oh my goodness, now we've learned all these other things. So this basically served that little extra portion here. So you can have this thing and find, ooh, ancient treasure. Be able to get true silver boars. So extra little bits of treasure here and there, some green pieces there. A recipe in there for those that were doing craftings and stuff. So that was the main thing about this, was that this was like the first indication about a storyline that was going to be continued on into Wrath. So yeah, pretty lengthy and elaborate maze of a dungeon here. Yeah. So, that's Uldaman, everyone. And we are almost done. I think it is time, because I'm looking at the list here. There's only 3 I think we have not done on this list. Because we have done that. We've done that. We haven't done this. I take that back. We haven't done this. I don't really want to do this one because, well, this one is kind of worse because it's not one floor. It's multiple floors. So I'm having to go up and down and up and down and, well, just keep making my way down, I guess. But, yeah. Looking at this, I guess there is that. I guess I could do that because I believe that's still the vanilla version of that. So I apologize if I almost skipped that one. It was the other one I was thinking of. Because on this list, the only ones we have not done yet are Stratholme, Blackrock Depths and Dire Maul, but it looks like Lower Blackrock Spire is one we still have not done yet. So I guess before we do the finale of the big three, as I'm referring to them in this list, which of course are Stratholme, Dire Maul, and Blackrock Depths, before we do those, there's one more left to do, and that is Lower Blackrock Spire. I almost forgot about this because remember, Upper Blackrock Spire I have already done an entire video on, because that's the one that has the Leroy Jenkins thing, which I did a whole video on. So before we do though, wrap up the vanilla version of these dungeons and move on to the Burning Crusade, we will be up next. We will be doing the Lower Blackrock Spire. Stay tuned.